Alright guys, what's up? Before I get started, let's just look at this video real quick. As you can see, Nathan Drake represents PlayStation, this other guy represents Xbox One, and all of a sudden, BAM! PlayStation just knocked the F out of Microsoft. Boom! Flushed them right down the toilet. Alright, let me get straight into this video though. I want to discuss the PlayStation 4, you know, the whole presentation they had at E3. Wow, it's a lot to talk about, so let's go over it real quick. First thing they started out with was an epic introduction. You know, it's like the big flash event, all these games that they flash look great. Then all of a sudden they started out talking about the PlayStation Vita. They talked about how Batman Arkham Origins could be there, Killzone Mercenaries could be there, and a bunch of other games. You know, they have to support the Vita, look pretty good, understandable. Then the next thing, PS3, they showed The Last of Us, they showed Beyond Two Souls, which I was pretty shocked about Beyond Two Souls. It completely changed up the style of the gameplay, which I was really shocked about that. Like, it looks completely like a whole different game now, that you have to do stealth, and it looks like sort of like a third-person military shooter. Looks pretty cool. Then they showed a Gran Turismo 6, which, you know, always looks pretty good, and I always never understand why Gran Turismo always comes out towards the end of a console, but it's whatever, you know. After that, that's great. We expected that's what they had to do. Then all of a sudden they jump into Batman Origins, and they let you know that the origin skins from like older Batmans and stuff like that, it's gonna be specialized. It's gonna be a special thing for the PlayStation, so that's pretty cool. The game looks good, by the way, so that's awesome. And then we got GTA 5 that they showed, and they're gonna have a special bundle for the PS3, which is at $299. It's actually gonna include the headset, you know, the game itself, and the PlayStation 3. But to be honest with you, if you don't have a PlayStation 3 by now, most likely you're not going to get it, especially for the price $299. I'll explain that later why. Yeah, so then they go back to PS4. They talk about the new cool PS4 and the way it looks. I think it looks pretty good. You know, to be honest with you, I really don't care what a system looks like that much, because, you know, I'm gonna put it down. I could really care less, but compared to the Xbox One, it really does look a lot slimmer. It looks thinner, and yeah, they both don't look as good as the original ones in my opinion, but both of them. I like the Xbox Slim the way it looks, and I like the PS3 Slim. So anyway, that's just what they did. Then all of a sudden they talked about some features inside the PlayStation 4, which we know they had to do because Microsoft already discussed theirs. So they let you know they have a partnership with Sony Pictures, the Sony Entertainment Group. So they're gonna bring to you a lot of like live TV. There's different movies and stuff like that. They're gonna bring exclusively for the PlayStation 4, which is good. Then next thing they did was show the Order of 1886. Now, this game looks decent, but it's all CGI, so we really won't know what the game's all about until they show some real gameplay footage, but it looks pretty interesting. And yeah, on to the next one. They actually showed more game footage, or actual game footage, from Killzone Shadowfall, and this one looks great. At first, you know, I didn't think I was be excited about Killzone because I'm not the biggest Killzone fan, but once I saw the graphics, the way it looks, it actually looks like a different game from normal Killzone. So I was really excited about this. Then Infamous Second Son looks amazing as well. It looks really good. I can't wait for this. They showed a lot of CGI, not really gameplay for it, but to me it looks great. Knack is another game that I was actually shocked about, because before, the first time I saw it, it looked more like a children's game, and now all of a sudden Knack actually looks pretty decent. Like, it actually looked like Crash Bandicoot in one scene where you run away from the enemy, so it kind of looks pretty cool. I kind of like it. Then after that, Sony actually went into the indie games, and they showed how like they're supporting indie games. They showed a whole bunch of different indie games. One to note of is the creators from Bastion. It's called a Transistor or whatever. And yeah, it's the creators of Bastion, so they did a great job with that. Then they hopped in straight into Square Enix. Two games to note from there is Final Fantasy Versus, but I guess right now it's going to be called Final Fantasy 15. I'm not too sure exact name of it. I know it's Final Fantasy, so don't quote me on that, but it looks pretty good. Next one's Kingdom Hearts 3, which a lot of people are waiting for. Like, I, for one, kind of like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, the one for PSP, but I think Kingdom Hearts 3 looks pretty good. The next one's pretty big to note was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, which is a multi-plat. But what was kind of weird about this, it was actually freezing and lagging ridiculously. It lagged so bad, it actually looked like they stopped the presentation at the end because it just stopped. Now, at first I thought it was the live stream, but we all found out that it wasn't live stream. It was actually the game itself, but we don't know if it's a PlayStation 4 or Ubisoft game. I have a feeling it's Ubisoft because Assassin's Creed 3 was lagging like crazy on a PlayStation and on Xbox 360. There will be parts where it lags and it glitches out on you. So I would not, think it's a PlayStation 4 right away. They showed Elder Scrolls Online and Mad Max. Those are two games that are going to be on the PlayStation 4 later on, which I thought Elder Scrolls is pretty cool because that's something different. It's going to be a whole, online game, which I thought was pretty cool. And then that's not where, everything got interesting for me because, before that, everything that they showed so far was about average. I really didn't think Sony was doing great at showing the games because they already showed the games before. So I'm like, great, this does not look good. Microsoft's definitely going to win this. And all of a sudden, Sony came out. Well, Jack walked down. He talked about used games. He said, playing, and I quote, PS4 supports used games. He put that on the big screen. Everyone stood up and started applauding. That was something everyone wanted to hear. That's something I wanted to hear, but I honestly, truly thought that it would not happen, but I really wanted it to happen. So the fact that it happened was amazing. They also talked about that you do not need to be connected to online in order to play single-player games. So the way they worded it as well, they slipped in something that obviously later we're going to find out. Sony's going to start charging $5 now a month for PlayStation Plus. If you don't have PlayStation Plus, you can't play multiplayer games. But if you have, you can still play single-player games offline, stuff like that. Now, they didn't clarify this, but I assume by the way they said it, that's what they want to do. But I'm okay with this because I feel like this is something they should have been charging for anyway. PlayStation Plus, as we know, you get free stuff from it. Sony has been giving multiplayer for free. I think this might be the right move. This might be the way that they were able to not have DRM on their games because the publisher is going to fight for that. But maybe this is Sony's way of paying the publishers that, hey, we're charging people $5. Here's some money back to you guys. At the end of the conference, they showed Destiny. Now, Destiny looks pretty good. It looks seriously like Halo, to be honest with you. And obviously it's from the creators that made Halo, so that's probably why it looks like that. Now, in this game, there also was lag, too. There was some slight lag. It froze at some points. The frame rate dropped. Once again, we don't know if it's a PlayStation 4. It could just be the developers and how they created the game. We have no idea what's going on with that. Now, the final point that, Sony made was at the end when they announced the price. Now, they did not announce when the game will be released or when the console will be released, which, I understand because they have to save something for the Tokyo Game Show. So I'm just happy that they announced the price because usually, knowing Sony, they won't announce the price and they'll announce when it's coming out, and then you're still sitting there wondering how much they are. So Sony announced that the PlayStation 4 will be $399 and one set price. I was completely shocked. I'm sure a lot of other people are shocked. I mean, I was thinking like $450, and I was kind of worried that when Xbox announced that theirs is $500, that Sony's like, all right, we're going to be $500 too, or maybe $550. But Sony surprised everyone, and they were $399. This is a price that is amazing price because if you think about it, it's only $100 more than what you're paying right now for like a PS3 bundle right now. So this is amazing price. The fact that Sony is able to do this, along with mentioning the used games, they didn't dodge it like Microsoft did. They actually mentioned it. And they not just mentioned it, they said that that's not for us. We're not going to do that to you guys. The fact that they did that, the fact that they actually showed that they do care about the gamers was one impressive, very impressive presentation. Now, they didn't wow us with the games right now. I'm being honest with you right now. They already showed all the games beforehand, the games that could have wowed us, like the Killzone or the infamous Second Son. We already had those games in the first presentation that wowed us. They didn't have any Uncharted or anything that could have easily wowed us. That's why I'm showing this Uncharted film in the background. I was, expecting Nathan Drake to be there at the end. They didn't do that. None of those games are ready at the moment, so they did not present that. So to be honest, the whole presentation is pretty even. And if you're looking just at games for this presentation alone, not like both presentations combined, Microsoft had more games and more exclusive, and they actually looked pretty good back to back, all these games, even though there wasn't super exclusives either for them, because a lot of them, like I said before, were multi-plats. But yeah, like I still say that what saved Sony and what pretty much knocked out Microsoft from this E3 presentation was the fact that Sony canceled out everything that Microsoft said they could do. Well, we're going to have exclusive shows. Well, so are we. Well, we have features that you can't do anywhere else. Well, we could do the same thing. We could share on Twitch TV. Well, we share on iStream, I think that's what it's called. They say different things, like they have a movie package with a Redbox now. They're joining the Redbox, which is awesome. So there's different features that they have that they countered what Microsoft did. Microsoft comes and says, oh, well, you're not allowed to use games for our console. Well, Sony says they're not leaving it up to the publishers. They're not allowing it. They're gonna allow you to use game whenever you want to. That's great. Now, Sony also announced that you don't have to worry about always online. And Xbox says every 24 hours you have to check in, So the last thing that Sony could have done was do a lower price than Microsoft. And Microsoft says $4.99. Sony comes out and says, you know what? We're charging $3.99 for a console. And to be honest, that is amazing. And I'm not too sure if that's the original pricing point Sony had. I have a feeling that Sony had more than one point, like pricing point, that their goal was to be $100 cheaper, whatever Microsoft came out with. And I think that's what they're doing. So they're hoping that, whatever Microsoft came out with, they're just going to undercut the price and make it lower. I think the same thing's going to happen with the release date. I think that Sony's waiting to get a more exact date of when Microsoft's going to release their game, and they're going to announce it at the Tokyo Game Show. That's going to be their big wow for that, the Tokyo Game Show. So they're going to announce a release date, and it's going to probably be in October, and a couple of weeks before the Xbox, and they're going to undercut them. That's the way to do it. You got to come out before them. You wait for a while, build up more suspense, let the Xbox dig its own grave, because they got a lot of things they got to cover. And yeah, I mean, right now Sony pretty much won E3. I mean, we still got to wait for Nintendo tomorrow, but I think Nintendo has the opportunity to come in second. And it's shocking because earlier I thought Microsoft did a great job, and I mean a pretty darn good job on their presentation, but Sony beat them, and they didn't even have to beat them with games. They just beat them with no restrictions and just making you feel good for your purchase. And I think that's sometimes is just as important as games. And we know the games are coming for Sony, so that's not even in question. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed everything. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. And this is Hector from Not Too Nerdy. I'm out. See you, YouTube.